Chicken, chicken, oh chicken, you may go up in a balloon. Chicken, you may hide behind the moon. On you now, chicken. I never let a fowl be. $10,000 one for the fowl. No deal, room's too high for me.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Smokey Chef. I am in the process today on this beautiful Memorial Day weekend. The girls are out of the house. I got the whole place to myself. And guess what I'm going to do? No, I'm not going to have strippers come over and have a party. I'll make some really good food. I love cooking. Cooking is a big passion of mine. And whenever I'm by myself, I make this really extravagant meal. And I'm a little crazy today. So, on the menu tonight is going to be some nice beef ribs. Now, I picked these up at my local grocer. And these are Angus beef ribs. Now, they're not very thick. I didn't go for the very thick kind. I did get some short ribs that have a lot of meat on them. But what I want to go over today is a process called dry brining. Now, wet brining is something you might have done at Thanksgiving, where you take your turkey and you submerge it in a very salty solution of water, sometimes sugar, and salt. In most cases, kosher salt. Meat, however, unlike poultry, doesn't really work well because it essentially gets waterlogged and it doesn't end up faring very well. But dry brining with meat is really, really good. Now, I love making steak. Really, really hot coals. Steak's amazing. I do a very basic steak recipe. But what I do, as the meat is coming up at temperature, which is very important, whether you're smoking or grilling, bring the meat up to room temperature. I put a layer, a generous layer, but not too much, of kosher salt on the outside of the meat. Well, the properties of salt brings moisture out, which makes the sodium go in. And so you get a really good deep flavor on every bite. And it also starts the process of softening the meat, essentially tenderizing it, and makes it really good for smoking. But that's also why that in my rub, I don't have any salt in my rubs, because I'm going to put the salt on now. So I'm going to take my kosher salt, and I'm going to really, like I said, not too heavy, sprinkle the salt over the ribs. Then just kind of lightly, somewhat just kind of rub it in. Now I'm not worried about putting anything on there to make it stick. You know, the moisture of the ribs that it just kind of comes along with will keep the salt in place. And that's that one side. Maybe a little more on the thicker part. Now I'm going to flip it over to the back side. I've already taken the membrane off of this. You can, you want to see that video? It's on my channel. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to let this sit for about an hour to an hour and a half covered. And I'm going to let that salt really drive into the meat, get that flavor really, really deep, and then I'm going to add my rub. Alright? So you guys stay tuned, and I'll see you in about an hour and a half. Alright guys, let's talk about rub. I'm from North Carolina. And as you know, we are known for our barbecue. We're always competing with Texas and with Tennessee about our barbecue. Here's the real deal. Pig is king here. So rarely do we smoke beef ribs in North Carolina. But occasionally we do. Here's my basic rub. Nothing real special. And again, it's more of a savory rub for me. So I'm going to start out with my different ingredients. I'm going to place the ingredients right here so you can follow along. I hate when people on YouTube flash the ingredients real quick. If you don't pause it at the right time, you're struggling to get the controller or something. So the ingredients will stay up for a while. Also, you'll be able to find them in the description. So I'm going to start out with some coarse ground black pepper. Put that in a bowl. And next thing, I'm going to have some granulated onion. Or onion powder. So just pour that in there. It doesn't matter what order you put these in, they're all going to mix together. And I have some garlic powder. You know, occasionally, if you've been storing your herbs for a while, or you bought them in mass quantities at the big box store, you know, just check to make sure that the fragrance is still there and it's they're not old. So that was the garlic powder. I'm not going to put the white sugar in, right? Not too much, but just enough to mellow out all the different flavors and make them balanced. Now we have some ground mustard. You know, a lot of times when I'm prepping my pork ribs, I will put a layer of mustard down, primarily as a binder. Mustard, what do you put on your hamburger? Ketchup and mustard. So by having mustard powder in there, it kind of makes sense. Now in this next one, I have a combination of what I call my heat elements. I love chili powder and adobe sauce. I love that southwestern kind of smoky flair. I lived in California for many years, so I have kind of like that southwestern kind of kick. I'm no Bobby Flay by no means. He puts, you know, everything southwestern, but I still love the Bobby. But in this, I have some smoked hot Spanish paprika, as well as some regular chili powder. So I'll put that in there. Alrighty guys, we are ready for the rub. So as you can see, well maybe you cannot, but the meat has gotten very shiny. There's some liquid that's came out of them, so we're ready to put the rub on. What I have here is a little bit of Wesson oil. I'm just going to lightly sprinkle over top. I'm essentially using this as a binder. I'm going to rub this in real good. Flip it over. So you can see I added the short ribs in. They're nice and thick and meaty. They got a lot of, like that was this one's a monster. It's a bit of a brontosaurus kind of deal. Funny, as soon as you start talking about making beef ribs, you get a lot of Fred Flintstone jokes. Ha ha ha. All right. So we're gonna start to sprinkle on the rub. See how that nice coarse ground black pepper in there. Let me do one of these for the barbecue pit boys. They always have their thumb sticking out. I do want to give a shout out to all the people that have helped me become a better cook. YouTube has been a real blessing for me in more than one way other than just cooking. But Malcolm Reed, Barbecue Pit Boys are some of my favorites. I try and catch as much Alton Brown as I can. I'm still a huge fan of his. I love the science behind food. Like one thing I find very interesting is that there's a substance called collagen. It's a type of connective tissue that's primarily found in tougher cuts of meat, ribs being no exception. And if you don't cook that collagen very slow, it'll become so tough that you can't eat it. So at a low temperature, as in low and slow, you end up melting the collagen and it essentially turns into gelatin. And that's right, exactly what you've been eating as a kid. And gelatin, as you know, takes on flavors very easily. And it's a really great flavor transport. So by having gelatin mixed in with the fat and the rub and the juices from the meat, it just makes it really, really incredible. So now you guys know, Tell you the truth, the first time I cooked ribs, I cooked them so fast. And I had bragged about how I was a good Southern cook. And the people that ate their ribs, they took a bite. And it was not unlike shoe leather. But I have matured since then and gotten better. I think I'm ready to go. Oh boy, my neighbor just turned off his power washer. So what I have here is the 30-inch Masterbuilt Pro smoker. And as you can see, has plenty of room. I have went ahead and put heavy-duty foil on my drip pan and my bottom pan, and also over my heating element cover, and it makes the cleanup very quick. So all I essentially have to do in the cleanup process is to clean the grates themselves. I'm going to go ahead and take my ribs and I'm going to put them so the meat is facing up. Alright, I'm going to take my short ribs, also do the same thing, put them on the rack below. I absolutely love this smoker. It is very easy to work with and very simple. As you see, I have a meat thermometer. I'm going to put that in later. I have a digital control panel up top that tells me the current temperature of the unit. Of course, it's dropping down rapidly because I have the door open like a dummy. But I'm going to close this up. Alright, I've already put my hickory chips in the side. And that's it. I will never have to open this unit up for the rest of the cooking time. That way the heating element doesn't stay on. It uses less power. This is an 800 watt unit. It's super convenient. So next time I see you guys, it'll be a couple hours and we're going to see how the ribs are doing. I thought that maybe since I had the opportunity with the noise being turned off, I'd give you guys a better look. So there's my top rack, my bottom rack. It actually comes with 4 racks that slide into those little channels there. Pretty simple. And then I have the drip pan, and I don't want to touch it now, but this is my wood chip tray, and the heating element is just above that, encased in this unit, which I've also protected with foil. On the bottom I have, I guess, another drip pan that I line with foil, but not that much comes out of there. I'm sorry, that's the water pan, that's the drip pan. I must have been out in the heat too much yesterday. So I have a little bit of water in there, and all I'm going to do now is, you can see the smoke is starting to form, and I'm going to go ahead and close my door. I love this latch, it's really easy. I've never done it with one hand though. That could be interesting. There we go. Now on the side is where the smoke is essentially coming out of. All I have to do is I turn this and I pull this out, and that's where the chips go into. Put that in there, and I simply just turn that over, which flips the chips down to the tray. Well, time is up. We are done with the smoking section of this particular barbecue. I'm going to open this up, let that beautiful smoke come on out, and let's get these bad boys out of there. They got an awesome bark on them. Beautiful stuff. Oh boy, does that smell good. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Alright, let's take them inside, and we're going to get our braising liquid together. So, follow me. Man, do those look good or what? Check those out. Wow. Beautiful. Nice bone separation, really nice bark. What I'm going to do is take some plain old beef broth and make a braise for the ribs. I essentially want to make a bit of a boat out of foil. And we're going to put the ribs in. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure the ribs are meat facing down. Alright? Because I'm not going to have the liquid so high in this boat that it's going to cover all of it. So that's why I want to make a bit of a boat. I'm not having to fill it up. Plus, once I start braising these, some of the natural juices are going to start to come out. So I don't want too much liquid in here. I'm probably going to put about maybe a half a cup to a third of a cup to about half a cup. And that's all I'm going to need. This will get them nice and moist and really, really super soft. Now, when you're making ribs, there's a classic 3-2-1 method. And what I've learned from experience and from other chefs that I've learned from on YouTube or otherwise is that you shouldn't always follow that to the T. Sometimes things might be done a little sooner, so it's always a good idea to check your meat probably about an hour in for tenderness. And of course you can let them go longer, and if you want them to fall off the bone, go right ahead. But it seems that nowadays judges are wanting to have some resistance in the bite, so it doesn't simply fall off. And I hate eating ribs that just kind of fall apart. I want to enjoy eating the rib off the bone, not off the plate. So here's my beef, and again it's just plain old Swanson's beef broth. And I'm not going to sit here and make my own broth. I think that'd be a little intense for a good old southern boy like me. Anyway. Alright, good and wrapped up. Place those on there. And we're going to put them back on the smoker. Same temperature, but now because they're wrapped, I'm going to forego any more smoking. Besides, these guys have pretty much absorbed as much smoke as they can. So, here we go. Now what's important is you don't want to puncture the bottom of the foil, because all your broth will go all over the smoker and defeat the purpose of why you have it. So the water in the pan is good. Again, like I said, there's not a lot of stuff coming down at the bottom, and whatever smoke is in there I'm going to leave be. It'll burn out pretty fast, but I'm not going to continue to feed the wood chips in there. So I'm going to check back with this in about an hour for doneness, and hopefully we'll have some good ribs to eat. Hang on, guys. It's actually time for a beer. Alright, well, 1 hour has passed, and we are ready to check out the tenderness of our ribs. So I'm going to take out one of the packets. And let's see what's going on. Looks pretty good in there. I'm going to check the bones. What I'm trying to do is to see if any of the bones move freely. Now this is pretty hot. Excuse the camera move. So I don't want to burn myself. So I'm going to take the towel and I'm going to rotate and see if the bone moves. Now, man, I tell you what, it feels like it's getting pretty close, but I think I'm gonna let it go a little more. The end bit there, where the meat is thinner, is rotating pretty easy, but on this side, it's a little more tough. So I'm going to keep that working. The bottom's really, really moist and juicy, and I think it needs about another maybe half hour, maybe 2. As you can see, they're not exactly pulling apart as easy as I'd like them to. So let's keep going. That's the purpose of the test, is to see where the tenderness is. You almost want to be able to pull them apart and get a little bit of bow movement, but you don't want them to be, you know, completely falling off. Let's see about these. Now these are thicker, so I'm assuming that they're going to need more as well. Again, they're pretty soft. Yeah, I'm gonna say another half hour on both, and that's fine because I'm in no hurry. I just put my baked potato on, and while I have this going, I'm gonna go in and make a finishing sauce for these bad guys. Now, you know, some people say that, you know, you shouldn't use sauce with this particular kind of rub on a meat. You should let the meat stand by itself. But it might be good just to have it as a dipping sauce. So in I go, and let's see what kind of sauce we can get going. Alrighty guys, I'm not gonna lie. I've been smoking ribs all day. I have mowed my lawn, my neighbor's lawn. And on top of that, I got up at 5:30 this morning because I've already let my wife getting off to see her mother. So I'm a little tired. This dipping sauce I've made, and the recipe will appear now. I say the recipe will appear now on the screen. Guys, just follow this. It's really simple. Ketchup, brown sugar, you know, the normal deal. Oh, sorry about the camera move. The normal stuff, you know, some onion, and again, you can check the recipe out. All you gotta do is just pour it all in there, put the heat on medium, and just stir it. You do want to reduce this slightly. Now, what I like about this recipe is it has one of my favorite things in the world, adobo chilies, I'm sorry, smoked chipotle chilies and adobo sauce. Now, most of the time, because of my kid and my wife, I only use the sauce, and I use it very sparingly. But with this, you can see it's got a really nice, rich color. It's not too thick, because, again, you kind of want it as a dipping sauce. I probably will glaze the ribs with this as they're finishing, and in the smoker, and it'd be really nice. Plus, if I need some, like I said, I can dip into it. So that's the sauce. And we have, let's check the camera, we need to go out and test for doneness again. Alrighty. You know, guys, I'm losing light outside, so I decided I would just bring them in so you guys could see. Actually, this bone has separated itself, and this meat is just beautiful. And man, does it taste so good. Look how nice it comes off the bone, but it still has a little resistance. It's very soft, very juicy. Oh boy, I cannot wait to get into this. See, that's the consistency you're looking for with a rib. Really, really awesome. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these, I'm going to put them back on the smoker so they can somewhat harden up. I'm going to start basting them with the homemade sauce that I made. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to split these in half. And half I'm going to do with the sauce, and half I'm going to keep them bareback. Alright guys, so when I'm ready to eat, I'll put you on the camera, and so you can guys see the final product. But a little close up there of the beautifulness. It's just awesome. Smells so good. Oh yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's a good bite of food right there. Well, as you can see, I'm about to sit down to a wonderful dinner. Quiet there. So, these two have been basted in the sauce that I made, the chipotle spicy dipping sauce and finishing sauce, and these are the bareback. Of course, I just finished my lovely baked potato. It's a salt encrusted with Western oil, and I bake it in the oven. That's also on my YouTube channel if you want to see that. It's got a great crispy skin like a potato skin, but the inside is nice and fluffy. Got a little sour cream and some butter and some chives there. And of course, a fresh beer to wash it all down. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been a great experience for me. Sorry if it's a long video, but ribs take a long time. So I'm going to dig into this, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Also, always remember, always trust the fat man when it comes to food. All right, later guys.
Now chicken, chicken, oh chicken, you may go up in a balloon.
That's awesome.
Chicken, well, you may hide behind the moon. On you now, chicken. I never let a foul be. $10,000 one for the foul of the road's too high for me. I got to thinking about chicken late last night.